Through promoting new voices and grassroots engagement, Gen Z Grower Platform seeks to advance conservative solutions to issues that Generation Z cares about: environment, education, entrepreneurship, equality. So, today I will be discussing Gen Z GOP. Now they call themselves Gen Z Grower Platform. It used to just be Gen Z GOP, but I guess they just changed the official name to that. It still is GOP though at the end, but I'll just keep calling them that. So, Gen Z GOP is a supposed right wing group that claims to represent people who are Zoomers, and they like represent what they want in the country. They're honestly they're wrong on almost every single issue, and I will be going over that in this video. So, one of their main issues that they claim to care about very much is the environment. Yeah, I care about the environment too. I actually made a case for that. That right-wing publishers should care about the environment in my previous video about Ronald Reagan. I'll put a card for that now, so you can watch it. And in this, and for them, they think that they can promote environmentalism using the free market, which is honestly amazing. I don't know what world that works in. Oh wait, it doesn't work in any world. But there's an article that one of their members made, and they say conservative political philosophy is not only compatible with environmentalism, it is perhaps its greatest champion. Yeah, okay. So they claim to represent. They want to care about the environment very much. They're also like Washington insiders. They're also like very connected to mainstream media. Not to say that's inherently wrong. That's actually a very good thing to have because you can spread your message more effectively. But that's I mean it's bad that they're spreading their message because it's the completely wrong message. So it's actually rather interesting because these people are really, it's amazing because they evoke the name of Theodore Roosevelt as if, he'd support their organization or whatever, when he clearly wouldn't. Because what Gen Z GOP also supports is unregulated, unfettered capitalism in the United States. They say their key issue is entrepreneurship, whatever that means. And they don't really care about workers' wages at all. Actually, they don't care about the well-being of the working class. It's really elitist economics. That's the term I call it because it only benefits a certain elite segment of the population. I made a whole video about right-wing economic philosophy. Actually, I've made several videos about it, but I made a recent one about Ronald Reagan and how he promoted that same right-wing economic philosophy and how it was a complete disaster. And this is essentially what they're supporting as well. So it's amazing. They actually evoke Theodore Roosevelt's name as if, again, like he'd support them. And it's gonna be. I'm gonna mention this in a video in the future of another group called the Boneless Project, which is a project that I personally support. So they say supporting the environment has been a pillar of the Republican Party since President Theodore Roosevelt's expansion of our national parks. Now, over a century later, we need to protect God's creation by utilizing the power of the private sector, not diminishing it. It's honestly unbelievable. I really love to listen to them. Like they're probably gonna make this argument, oh, like support like clean energy sources or whatever. It's honestly hilarious because nothing has really contributed more to our worsening natural environment than large multinational corporations who have prospered as a result of the economic system. They're saying that we don't need to uh, uh, regulate at all. We actually have to use it. So we use the power of the private sector, which resulted in the problem in the first place. So the only problem to fix it, the only way to fix it must be to use the private sector. No, no, that doesn't make any sense. No, you use simple environmental regulations. Like it's complete common sense. But like it's one of the issues where they're actually like kind of contrary, and they're also complete Washington insiders, and they've managed to create this congressional caucus with some members of Congress in there. But like really in reality, what are they going to be doing? I didn't see any plan. There was no plan for legislation. They just use these vague terms. Oh, we need to utilize the power of the private sector, and we not diminishing it. And it's just a complete joke. But it's just one of the issues where they're just completely wrong. So, one of their next issues is education. They say Republicans bring change in education is the easiest way for the party to have a seat at every table in the community. And I agree, actually. But the way they interpret the education system is that it should only be used for like preparing people for the modern world. Basically just tying people into the same broken, terrible system that we currently have. That is not a very good position at all, actually. That is actually the exact opposite of what I think actually the education system should be. Really, the education system is used to promote, positive ideals in individuals and giving them, information to make them just better, more capable human beings, not just, not slaves to the system as, all these people, like it literally says here. So as Republicans, we want to speak about how we intend to lower, yeah, I actually agree, lower cost of college, but that's a different issue. And better position all students to become great workers, citizens, and community members. So, maintaining the status quo essentially. Everything's totally fine. Everything's fine. But it's really just it's completely ridiculous. And this is what I'm talking about here. Schools across America, regardless of zip code, must equip students with the skills necessary to take on the challenges of the 21st century. No, actually, no, I disagree, actually. I think that, again, education should be used as a tool to, ground people in a normal, positive philosophy about the world and, showing them the truth and just making them more capable, again, more intelligent, for actual things that will make our country better. So, not, working for this current system that we have. But yeah. So yeah, that's really it for for education. There's no specific plan, really, because if they really were like all for lowering the cost of college, then they'd probably support people, like Bernie Sanders, who, actually advocate for free college for all. But they're not doing that because they're not left wing on economics. They're actually right wing on economics, and then what I'll get to later, actually, actually like after this one, they're left wing on social issues too. So it's even worse. Uh, so entrepreneurship. This is their economic nonsense. So this is like basically like you've probably seen this a billion times. Places in like you've seen it probably on like PragerU, Fox News, other conservative organizations that promote this. So it just says the same thing as usual. It says entrepreneurs in the industries of the future are critical to both the fabric of our immediate communities and the country as a whole. That's pretty funny. And this is the funniest part. Capitalism is under attack by those who wish to dismantle our way of life of doing business in the name of wokeness. by investing in entrepreneurs. Wait, oh, but by investing in invest in entrepreneurs. The Republican Party can show that all individuals can achieve the American dream. And it's ridiculous. Really, the American dream is running some oppressive like corporation that suppresses workers and pays it terrible wages. Like that's the American dream. They're no, not at all. And also, by the way, I'm gonna get to their support like on workers and whatever and unions stuff like that pretty soon. I have a tweet to show. And they're ridiculous. So it actually says right here. The power of markets and capitalism can be a driving force. Yeah, it can be toward better sustainability, equality, and equality. Whoa. The power of markets and capitalism can be a driving force toward better sustainability, equality, and education too. Really. Capitalism and free market capitalism can be used to promote equality. What? It doesn't make any sense. How does capitalism is inherently a hierarchical system? I actually support hierarchies completely. It's not a bad thing, but how is it equality at all? It's like I think they're also like the same people that might argue, oh, like our system is we have a meritocracy, and the rich they work for all the wealth they get, but meanwhile 80% of wealth in America is inherited. So it's not true at all. So it's honestly unbelievable. But they will continue to push us no matter what because they're so into this free market, like this philosophy. I don't understand why people are so obsessed with this. Like it's such a perfect system. If you speak out against it, you're a socialist, communist. You don't accept facts. You don't accept facts. You're stupid. Like they're gonna say stuff like that. If you say a single thing that's even against the free market capitalism, well, say that it's their idea of free market capitalism. It's not what we currently have, but it's really ridiculous. And then it says, and finally it says, the Republican Party must this is the most ironic part, by the way. The Republican Party must recognize that supporting our communities and entrepreneurs starts with Main Street, not Wall Street. Oh my god! It's honestly, it's insane. It's insane. They're saying that the Republican Party will support. Oh wow, the Republican Party doesn't recognize that. Like the Republican Party is like they're completely bought out by corporations. And it's so funny because like they pretend to be populist at the same time, and they're saying, "Oh, like we need to support mainstream." I agree, but their policies they do not support regular people, and you're going to see that very soon. Actually, they do not support regular people because if they supported regular people, then they support universal basic income. They'd support Medicare for all. They'd support a $15 minimum wage at least. Like, this is unbelievable. How could you say it's honestly unbelievable. It's like they're trying to trick people into this. Do you see? This is the game that they always have to play. They always have to play this game that they somehow care about regular people when people that believe in right-wing economic philosophy just fundamentally do not care about regular people. They don't. You can't even make that argument at all. Because the system that they support does not favor regular people at all because it maintains a status quo. And is our status quo helping regular people? No, of course it's not. And it's honestly amazing. It also connects to this other message that like somehow they're acting like they're like these disruptors or something. They're like this organization they're gonna stand up. They're gonna stand up to the National Party. Yeah, we're leadership, they don't represent our values. Meanwhile, maybe 95% the National Party agrees on this. Like, it's unbelievable. They probably agree. Like, maybe except for like maybe environmentalism, but even at the same time, I highly doubt they're even going to be able to do anything considering their entire philosophy, which is left wing social issues, and then they're left wing on social issues, and they're right wing on economics too. So it's a complete disaster. So then we're also going to get to the left wing social part. This is the most important part, in my opinion, because it really just shows how they're complete neoliberals. Because neoliberals, again, they're right wing on economics and they're left wing on social issues. So it says here, true to our roots as conservatives, we believe that all people should enjoy equal protection under the law. Who is arguing against you? Who? Who is arguing against you? No one is arguing that, oh, because someone is black or something, that they should get a heavier sentence. No, people get sentences based off the crime they commit. It just happens to be that blacks happen to commit wide majority. I'm pretty sure the majority of violent crimes. That's a fundamental problem with the black community. I support addressing that. I think that's a serious problem, and I'm not. I don't think that blacks are inherently deficient or whatever. It's ridiculous, and they don't actually support solving these issues. They support all these fake platitudes. That's what they're all about. Because they give all these right-wing economic platitudes. Oh, we must support the free market. We have to stop the radical left. We have to promote equality. We have to stop racism and sexism. Like, oh my god. Stop. Just stop. Like, I'm done. This is ridiculous. It's platitudes after platitudes. They don't have a cohesive plan, no legislation. Like, they have no vision at all. Well, they do have a vision. It's just not the correct vision. And it's just completely empty and hollow. It's just hollow. It's a hollow vision. So it just says, of course, as I just said, typical neoliberal nonsense. It says that we believe the Republican Party must stand against discrimination and fight for the rights of all, regardless of religion, race, gender, sexuality, or disability, whatever. So, like, no one is like, do you see a group of people out? Like, yeah, we like an actual significant group. I'm not talking about, these idiotic white supremacists or these unironic people who support like Nick Fuentes, who are like unironically racist and anti-Semitic, stuff like that. But like, there's no large group in the public that even constitutes a significant portion of the population that is against this. Like, you're gonna like walk up to someone on the street and they're gonna be like, yeah, I support racism, like, that's a joke. Like, this is just ridiculous, and they act like this is a significant issue. No, like, but equality is an issue in our society, but it's not this, social equality that they're pushing. It's actually funny because this is actually what multinational corporations support. Like, this is what they propose. So, actually, in a sense, like, essentially, Gen Z GOP is really just a party that consists of all of these corporate interests, all wind up into one thing. All these platitudes, left wing social ideology, and then right wing economic philosophy too at the same time. Like, that's exactly what multinational corporations are proposing. Like, do you think that, I don't know, like, Amazon is like supporting is supporting like $15 minimum wage or whatever? Of course they're not. They don't. Jeff Bezos does not want to pay his, like, for all companies. No, they're not. They don't care. They don't. And it's like, it's just so blatantly obvious. I mean, I can't even imagine who is actually giving, like, there's probably people giving them money from like corporations or whatever. But it's honestly amazing because these people have zero public support. I mean, like, who is supporting these people? No, there is maybe, I don't know, less than 10% of people who support everything on their platform. Like it's a complete joke. But like it again, it just continues here. It says when addressing issues of inequality, we must first acknowledge that the first step toward rooting out bigotry and prejudice is to learn from our neighbors and to strive to create communities that are inspired by the new commandment: love one another. And it's on. It's actually again. Actually, I remember another thing I was gonna say. They claim all this social inequality, that's supposedly going around our society, which is untrue. Uh, and they don't realize that they're protecting one of the most vicious and actually serious systems of inequality, which is our current economic order. They're not talking about this. Do you see? There's nowhere under here in this, maybe like 200, not even 200 words, maybe 100 word um, statement. Like they're not talking about significant economic issues at all. Like serious issues. They're not giving any solutions at all. They're instead resorting to the corporate line. This is the corporate platform. It's really what it is. And they pretend to care about the environment. They pretend to care about regular people. Like it's a complete joke. Like their entire organization is a joke, and the fact that they claim to be right wing. No. By the way, they also support supposed criminal justice reform when that's not even that's really a I don't in my opinion that's not really a significant problem in our country actually. I think that the way we actually prevent crime is you can say more police, yeah, I agree, but you also it's a fundamental a cultural issue among people who commit crime. So you look at communities who commit crime, and you have to look at the economic perspective. This is something that a lot of people always ignore because every time someone talks about inequality, they're always thinking of this nonsense like white supremacy, bigotry, sexism. Like, no, it's not true at all. Actually, that is not where you know it's not where all this. This is not why they're failing. Like African Americans are failing to succeed because of systemic inequality, like systemic social inequality. That's the correct term. Because there is systemic inequality in our economic system. But again, they don't address it and they don't care, and a lot of people don't really talk about it actually. And it's a serious issue actually because that's really where the fundamental problem is. It's in our current economic order. Uh, but yeah, it's just they don't care about the actual fundamental reasons why there is a problem with African Americans and other minority groups and other, like poor whites actually too, who commit crime, and they're doing it out of desperation because they've lived terrible lives, and there's been a significant rise of uh, mental disorders. I mean this whole pandemic, all the lockdowns have definitely exacerbated that problem. Certainly, like suicides are up, like domestic abuse calls are like up as well. I saw that like last year, and it's really been a significant problem. And now, like, there's all this talk about new variants. So it's like, is this even gonna end soon? It's like I I don't know. And it's probably gonna get worse from here, but they're not addressing these issues. Uh, it's really sad actually. Because I really wish they were a group that actually talked about significant issues. Because I don't have any like bad views with political organizations necessarily. I just think that you know people should support stuff that actually um, care for the needs of the vast majority of the population, not some certain segment of the population, which is really what these people are doing. Because they're at the same time they're supporting They're supporting right wing economic philosophy, which only benefits the small elite portion of our population. Uh, but I have many screenshots under here too, and like it only proves more that really their whole organization is just neoliberal garbage. So under here, it says from this woman, Ellie Kalish. She's Jewish, and she says, "Oh no, how dare American citizens feel called to our country and actually do." So there's this group, Gen Z GOP, posting their L's, and basically they support transgender ban being lifted for the military, by the way, which I disagree with. And because I don't care who these people are. I don't think that people should really be, chained to this terrible. I mean, our current. What is our army being used for right now? What is our army being used for right now? Committing, we're illegally occupying countries. We're illegal in countries all over the world. We're supporting a genocide in Yemen, by the way, right now, as I speak. We still have troops in Afghanistan, though I think maybe Biden might withdraw all troops, but I think he will leave like army contractors or something. In Iraq, Syria, Somalia. Also, there's like other random African countries too. We have troops there for some reason, and like our leaders don't even care to explain why. So I don't. I actually. I think it's fine to like maybe join the National Guard or something because you need something to I guess 'cause people say like it's a thing it helps you dedicate yourself to a to like an organization. You just like I'm not against that at all actually. I just think I oppose to our use of military overseas of what we've seen since the George W. Bush administration. I mean, not even the George W. since forever. We've been using our troops aggressively overseas, illegally occupying countries, just bombing countries for no reason. I mean, we had that illegal airstrike in Syria a couple of years ago too, that Trump launched because supposedly Syria supported, like they launched like the Syrian government launched a gas attack against its own civilians, which is blatantly not true. So it's actually quite. It's really. I don't. I hate that, but really, like this issue here, it's a complete neoliberal issue. I mean, when Trump banned trans people from serving in the military, the neoliberal media lost their mind. They lost their mind, and they're taking that same line. I also have this here, trans American. I mean, Reaganite clearly. So they're trans, but then look at this. They're a contributor for Gen Z GOP. I wonder. So, and they also say here, gay marriage is 1,000% compatible with conservatism. And it says, believe it or not, you can be gay and believe in the strength of tradition and the importance of freedom. Really? What? The strength of gay tradition. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that, maybe they should specify. Uh, it's just no, it's not. Gay marriage is not compatible with conservatism. Because gay marriage fundamentally just goes against really the whole purpose of marriage in the first place. Because it's between a man and a woman. There's no marriage between men and two men or two women. That's not how it works. That's not how it works. It's not. You can't. That's just goes against the whole fundamental, really, the whole fundamental part of marriage in the first place. So, by the way, there's also this from the from the. So this is one of their members. It's actually really interesting. They actually support. I mean, hate like all the Supreme Court justices that Trump appointed, but he would not have voted for Brett Kavanaugh, assumingly because of the neoliberal nonsense that developed around him. Like I think whatever he did then was, I don't think it was true at all. And I hate all these conservative judges. They're absolutely terrible because they all like I just saw a case like they basically supported like there was this insane case of I think somewhere from sub-Saharan Africa, might be Nigeria Sierra Leone or Cote d'Ivoire, one of those countries, and they basically sued Nestle because they were being used as child labor in in their country, whatever, Cote d'Ivoire or Sierra Leone, and the Supreme Court voted against it overwhelmingly. And the whole conservative majority voted against it. I think it was a party block. So actually, Roberts and all the conservative justices, they voted for it. To say that Roberts even is a conservative, but he's right wing. He's a conservative on economic issues, really. Um, and of course, they basically said, we can't. I mean, they basically acknowledged that they were in child slavery, but they said that that they have no business getting involved because they couldn't prove that the decision to have the country to have like the workers basically to have them become child slavery, like that decision wasn't made in America when Nestle is literally headquartered in the United States. So I mean that's what they voted for, and like I'm not actually like and he still voted for Gorsuch too, who also voted for that same thing I was just talking about too. So um, again, it's really their whole organization is a joke, and also one of their members sent out this. I'm an unapologetic David French fan. If you don't know who David French is, he's a supposed like conservative, and he's basically a libertarian. Like he basically says that like prayer in school is unconstitutional, but then also at the same time that basically all these laws attempting to stop, uh, trying to stop critical race theory are basically they're unconstitutional. If he was really sticking to his principles, then they'd be both unconstitutional. I disagree. Actually, I think both of those are perfectly come under protections from the Constitution. One of their members, this woman again that I said before, Eli Kalesh, whatever. I've been waiting for April 1st. This was in like I think it was in 2015, by the way. And she says, "I've been waiting for April 1st to announce that I've accepted." And it's actually she did actually volunteer for them. There was so she said she waited until April 1st. It's actually not true. She actually volunteered. She actually worked for Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016. And it was like it was actually in 2015. So it's actually kind of funny, but it just really shows how they're complete neoliberals. So it says here, conservative values are American values, but unfortunately, the Republican Party of today is conservative no more. What? Yeah, they are conservative on economic issues. Like, I mean, you agree with them on 90% of issues. So again, it's the same thing I talked about before. They pretend to be all these, like they're populists and they're supporting this, anti-establishment message when they literally are the establishment. So yeah. Also, I have one last thing. This is probably a pretty long video, but this is the last thing I wanted to show. And one of their members, Samaboto, said on actually it's one of the last things. I have another thing to show after. So he said, honestly, I thought the army ad was kind of cool. Some of y'all simp for Russia and China a little too much. So that basically there was this ad that came out in May, I believe, 2 months ago, and it's like complete neoliberal nonsense. And it's actually like it's like this woman, and like she's like her parents were gay, it was gay women, like she was adopted, obviously. So it's really terrible. If you haven't seen it, then you can watch it. But yeah, actually, I have it up here, over here,
It
and
begins in California with a
basically here, she says here, for a little girl raised by two moms, and it's actually one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Just complete neoliberal garbage.
although I had a fairly
She's a soldier in the American army in this whatever world this is.
typical childhood. Took ballet, played violin. I also marched for equality. I like to think I've been defending freedom from an early age.
Oh yeah, these were the BLM protests, by the way. These just love each other, and again, I don't need to show the whole thing, but basically that's the whole thing. She basically went to college, and then she went to the U.S. Army afterwards, and it's honestly amazing because it's complete neoliberal garbage. Also, by the way, like, check out this ratio right here. 212,000 dislikes, only not even 8,000 likes. So they got obliterated in dislike ratios. I think that's like 20 to 1. It's like a 20 to 1 ratio. So it's actually pretty funny, but you know, it's so yeah. So again, they support neoliberal ideology, and that's the last thing for there. This was actually just this is the last thing I wanted to show. So it says how the Republican Party can win Gen Z who is less radical than you think. So basically, this whole article is just about, it's actually pretty funny. So they actually like interviewed one of their leaders, the leader, John Olds, and it's actually really funny. So it says, if the GOP were to reshuffle its priorities a little bit to address generational issues and present conservative solutions, hilarious, they would make huge progress with Generation Z, said John Olds, the 22-year-old president of Gen Z GOP. And it's actually kind of ridiculous because I don't understand why this is even an issue anyways. Like this is like a fundamental, like, one of the groups that we should be focusing on winning on is blue collar workers and Hispanics too, like in the Sun Belt too. So I mean, if we can maintain margins with them, I mean, victory is basically ours. Like, they can't even stop us. Even if they do sort of well in the suburbs, they can't win. So yeah. So again, like, this is just the whole summary. Gen Z GOP is simply just a neoliberal corporate group that really is not a threat to the Republican establishment. They basically are the Republican establishment. I mean, like, they agree on like 90% of all their issues. They're also, by the way, they're again complete insiders in Washington, mainstream media, and it's actually pretty funny how they're even as much as they are a significant group. And the funniest part is they're actually verified on Twitter, which is a rare feat for an account, because usually people aren't really even verified on Twitter, especially people with 6,500 followers. So they actually there's a Twitter account called Gen Z GOP Posting Their L's. And if you take a look at their followers, it's incredible, because their official page has 6,500 followers, and this account that's dedicated to basically mocking them has 7,200 followers. So they actually have more followers than the actual organization's group. Um, it's just oh yeah, and there was one last thing. I'll be back. So it says here, this was the last thing I just remembered, and he said, sorry, um, oh, it's weird. I think I have to seize, but it's weird. But I don't know if it's ever happened. I've had that happen many times. But basically, this was when Kristen Sinema voted against the $15 minimum wage, and she put on this little show that angered a lot of people. Um, I I mean, she's really just again almost establishment complete garbage. Like she used to be like a democratic progressive too, so that's honestly like the greatest part. I'm like she doesn't care about regular people at all. And if actually I saw this poll, Kirsten Sinema is like less popular than Mark Kelly, the newly elected senator in Arizona. As a result of this, so and like he says here, it was March 5th. So it was only a couple months ago. He says counterpoint. She voted for 1.4 million people to not lose their jobs like this. So this is again one of the counter arguments that right wing people who are on the right on the economics they give against the $15 minimum wage is that it would lose jobs when it simply doesn't actually. Because I mean, Australia actually has the equivalent of a $15 minimum wage. There was no massive recession or there wasn't a mass exodus of small businesses. Like it's a farce. It's really a farce because really all these people are just towing again the corporate line. So that's the final point I just wanted to mention. I didn't want to drag that out for that long. So that is all for this video. It's probably maybe even like 30, 40 minutes. I don't know actually, but uh, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Uh, I hope you, and if you want more videos in the future, then you can like and subscribe for more. Um, you can also follow me on Twitter in the description down below. And if you have any criticisms or maybe something you wanted to add about Gen Z GOP in the comments, then you're welcome to leave that in the comments down below. So I hope you all have an excellent day, and I will see you all in the next video. Farewell, everyone.